We got Megan Benzik and Austin O'Neill back on the podcast for a repeat performance. And this is actually Megan's third time on the podcast. She had a solo episode, which is the most downloaded episode of all time, given its controversial nature. So maybe head back in the archives and check that one out if you haven't yet. But Austin and Megan moved into a van sometime last summer and have been traveling around, living the van life, quote unquote. And we had a pretty interesting conversation about that and what that's taught them, not just about, what's necessary and giving them freedom from the sort of standard social norms and mores that a lot of us are victim to, but also, it's not necessarily just about minimalism. It's more about prioritizing what's important and finding some freedom. And then also for both of them as athletes, getting out of that sort of like hyper intention and excessive focus on one specific goal and getting kind of caught up in some negative loops related to that. So pretty interesting discussion there. They also recently launched a coaching business called ATOP Coaching. So there's some links to that stuff in the show notes and the description of the episode. If you click on it in your podcast player, you should be able to find that stuff. So check that out from them and enjoy this episode. It's been a year
since end of August.
So
I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Almost. It's almost end of June.
Yeah.
So
pretty crazy.
10 months. 10 months van life.
Yeah. You've been growing in the womb of the van for 10 months. It's soon time to be birthed.
It's crazy.
We literally realized we went 6 months without sleeping in a building.
Oh yeah,
until we traveled here and then stayed with family. But yeah,
we went a long stint without sleeping in a building.
Yeah,
and I made fun of Megan when she had to break it.
Quitter. Austin, did you decide to get dreadlocks before or after moving into a van?
It was right before. I think it was I had that long hair and it was just driving me nuts, but I didn't want to cut it.
Yeah,
and it was the joke was oh, just get dreadlocks, and it was yeah, I'll do that. Everyone thinking I was joking, and I just did it. Megan's actually the one who did
it because he obsessed over it.
Oh yeah,
and then we did that.
That's typically how it goes. We obsess over something and it gets done somehow.
Yeah, it's something that people think is yeah, haha. Wouldn't it be funny if you were just a dirty hippie with dreadlocks living in a van? And you're like, yes.
They're oh, he'll never do that. And then next week, it's oh, hey, I got the first step done.
Yep.
So you just keep going with it. But yeah, no, that was something that was just kind of out of the whim type thing. And I ended up liking it because it's super convenient and it works. I don't have to worry about it. Just throw it back.
Yeah. Yep. Are you a fan of reggae?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to it. It's not like I follow it, but yeah.
So you're kind of like a dreadlocks poser then?
Sure. I think one thing was with the short hair, I think people always thought I was intimidating because I was always training, super serious. And that was one thing that appealed to me. It was oh, if I get dreadlocks, no way can people be intimidated by me. It's just
a little bit more laid back.
Yeah, a little bit more laid back. And I think it's worked too.
That makes sense.
It's more easily, people can approach me more easily.
Yeah.
I feel like it just kind of sets the mood.
Yeah. Oh, same with the van thing too. Yeah. I feel like people are nicer to us in general.
It's a good conversation
more
starter.
Down to earth.
It's where you live. It's oh, we live in our vans. We're kind of all over the place. And oh, cool. And then, especially in Colorado, it's it's not as uncommon if it was out here or Hawaii or somewhere, but people still talking about it and asking us what we're doing and stuff. So it's a good conversation starter, and then people usually open up to us too because they're oh, if they live in a van, I want to know about these people. They're doing something different.
Well, yeah, the standard thing of oh yeah, so where are you from? You're a van.
Yeah. Well, it's breaking that too, right? Because we would always want to say Arizona, or we're from Chicago but living in Arizona or something like that. And
but now it's getting longer and longer. Oh, we were in Chicago, then Arizona, now Colorado. So
for a time we were just saying Earth.
Just everywhere.
So people out west, it's more accepted, and I remember one time someone's good for you. It just kind of that was it. I was he got it. He's yeah.
Oh, good for you guys. Wow, that's really great.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so living in a van requires some sense of minimalism, right? Would you consider yourselves to be minimalists?
We've talked about this before.
Because there are people his family or his parents just refer to us as being minimalist, but we never actually thought of it like that.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened because we wanted to live in a van because it just made sense with our lifestyle. And yeah, I guess if we buy something, we usually get rid of something else. And like, yeah, we don't really buy a lot of stuff.
No.
And getting rid of stuff felt good. So yeah, I guess you could say that. But we never like identified with that.
Yeah.
Really.
Like I started watching that minimalist documentary
sure.
on Netflix, and I was like, I think I turned it off like 20 minutes in. I was like, oh, these guys are weird. Like, just associating with it so hardcore. But I don't like. I think that's one thing we've done a really good job of is not associating ourselves with anything in particular. Right?
Yeah. Like we started the van life page and then on Instagram, and then like we really just stopped posting on it because like, yeah, people would be like, oh, there's this van meetup here or there. But like we also like don't necessarily associate with like van life. It's just something we do because it makes sense to us. You know, like, but we're not like staying in that
realm.
bubble, I guess. We're trying to stay open to everything, you know?
Yeah, rather than associating yourself with something, right? Like, I think the example too, with like Megan's lupus, right? Like, if you associate with yourself with something like that, it just makes it, you get more engraved in that mindset and those behaviors, and it just becomes kind of like a mask you put on, you know? And then it's just not you, or is it authentic, I guess. So if you just don't associate with something like that, it's just like, you're more open to it. Just kind of go with the ebb and flow of things.
Yeah, but on the flip side, I mean, there's also like a benefit to being part of a community, right?
Yeah,
where it's
absolutely.
like, okay, you know, I have these other people who have similar interests and similar goals or mindset. And, you know, the toxic side of that is, like you mentioned, that you can sort of just start copying behaviors or associating with things that aren't necessarily what you want to do. But there is the benefit of like, okay, you know, these other people are working on something similar to me, and I can, you know, relate to them based upon that.
Yeah, it's balance for sure.
I think we still do that though when we go to gyms. Like we relate with people who are into fitness and being healthy, and then like out west, those people are usually also into outdoor stuff like we are. So like we go to gyms and then like meet people that way. And so like fitness is still like a big part of our lives, for sure.
For sure. But like, back to the whole balance thing. I think the van life was balance for us because we have a hard time not like finding balance, right? Like the whole CrossFit, when we got into competitive CrossFit, like that was so unbalanced and we got too far down the rabbit hole there. And the van life kind of brought us back, and that kind of helped. And just, we still work really hard, but the van helps us to like relax in the evenings and just detach from things and free our minds up.
More efficient with the time.
Oh yeah, super efficient. We get so much done. It's awesome.
Yeah.
How?
I mean, just think about like stupid stuff like walking to the bathroom and stuff like that. Like we save a lot of time, like just walking across, like people walking across their homes and stuff like that, or grocery shopping. Yeah.
We just stand in one spot and like everything's right there, and we like get ready.
And we don't have that much to choose from, right? Like
we're sleeping. My office space where I do the medical billing it was like 24 hours. So for a while we were sleeping in that parking lot because I would literally just wake up and I'm already at work. I'd go upstairs and then Austin drives to the gym or do whatever he's doing that day. So it's like efficient as far as that goes, like less driving time because we could be wherever we need to be.
The grocery shopping, right? Like think about how many times you have to go home, get stuff, then go to the grocery store, come back, carry it all, put it away.
We don't even get bags. We just put it back in the cart and just like bring it to the van and just put it away.
I hand it to her and she's in the van. She's just putting it away as I'm handing it to her.
There you go.
Saves so much. And then we'll have dinner in the parking lot of the grocery store.
Yeah, because like we're there.
Saves time. And then that allows us to do other things that we want to. Like no one likes spending time driving around, you know, grocery shopping and all that extra work.
Yeah. You don't ever feel anxious to like get home and relax. Like you kind of learn to like always just kind of go with it and stay more relaxed throughout the day.
Yeah, I think that was like, because we just got back from Hawaii. It was just like, it never felt like I wasn't home. You know, it was just like, we're kind of used to just being wherever.
And being comfortable there.
And being comfortable with whatever we have available to us. The only thing that we didn't like was not having the dogs.
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii, yeah.
Interesting. Well, so I think that, I mean, you mentioned some of the like content about minimalism and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people, you know, enjoy things like the Marie Kondo's Art of Tidying Up and various like, oh yeah, I only lived out of a backpack for a certain amount of time. You know, that there's a lot of stuff like that out there. But I think very few people actually take any of those actions. And it's something that I think appeals to people in a way that they feel overwhelmed and like unhappy with their life based upon like a lot of time pressure or like pressure to achieve certain status and things like that. And they're sort of like imagining something else that they could be doing, but aren't actually going to do it. You know,
It's all talk. Yeah.
It's like I see a lot of similar stuff with like entrepreneurial content where it's not created for people who are actually running businesses because it's a lot of like stupid fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
It's for people who are like unhappy with what they're doing and are like, oh, like maybe I could start a business, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
They just
it like mentally makes them feel better.
Yeah, I've noticed that too because like we've been focusing on, getting our business going and growing it. And now I get all those targeted ads on social media about, to grow your business.
Yeah, some dude like walking through his like fancy house, like pointing at the camera a bunch.
And then like I'll look into it, like, because they do a really good job at like marketing. So like I'll look into it and then I'll read some of their free content. I'm just like, they get you amped up to do it, but then I take a step back. It's like, I'm actually doing all this. Like, why would I pay for this? I'm on the right track. Like, I'm actually going to do this. This is for the people who are just like willing to keep dishing out the money and not do the thing because they think this is going to help them when all the content's there for them to do it on their own. If they would just take the actions needed to do it.
Yeah. But it is scary. It's definitely like him leaving his job and like even just like starting the LLC. Like I had to do a bunch of research on like, because we couldn't start the LLC in Arizona because you need a physical address. So our LLC is actually based in Wyoming.
You're like the grocery store parking lot.
Yeah. So
Kind of.
there's like stuff like that. We just had to like figure it out. But yeah, I like the problem solving and research. So, and then he's like, all right, is it done? Is it done? So together we like actually follow through with stuff. It balances really well.
Yeah, we hold each other accountable a lot. Checks and balances.
Well, so making the transition from like a normal life of living in a home to living in like a box on wheels, right, with less stuff. I mean, and for you guys, again, it's not just, oh yeah, we want to be minimalist or whatever. It's like, okay, we're trying to, I mean, what'd you say? Like just have more freedom in terms of where you...
Yeah.
Freedom for sure. Yeah.
I love that. Like,
yeah, definitely. Especially like hanging out with my parents the last 2 weeks. It's seeing like what my brothers have to do still kind of like under their rule because they're underneath their house and rules still. Just like, whoa, I do never want to be like that. Like,
they have to do like chores?
Yeah.
Like, take out the trash.
They feel obligated because my parents are paying more for them. It's just like, no, I'm completely dependent and I can go wherever I want. And they're like, we'd love to live here. And Megan and I are like, yeah, we're trying to figure it out right now how we're going to in the next 6 months,
That's like the coolest thing is like, yeah, we're going to be in Boulder for a while, but then depending on how winter goes, like maybe we'll end up in Arizona again, but maybe we'll end up in California. And like either way, it's not a big deal because we have all of our stuff with us and like we could just do whatever.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's why it's like, I don't want a physical, I could never probably go back to a physical, like where I have to be stationed for a job again. Yeah. At least for a long term, or it'd be like something short term maybe. But no, I just like, like Boulder. We went to Boulder the week before Hawaii. And we were like, no, we're going to move here. And we decided pretty much that weekend when we were there, we're like, we're going to move here. And we're set to move there June 28th, a month later.
As long as we find a gym with a shower and an office space for my on-site job right now, then...
Yeah, we had like a checklist, right? Like, all right, like gym, check, like camping spot or... sleeping spots, camping spots that are free and not going to get in trouble or... disrupt anybody, and Boulder's very van friendly, and like we have a checklist, and there's climbing in the area, great, like things we're interested in, and then kind of pace that all out based on location and how keep a tight setup. We like a tight setup so we're not traveling everywhere, and then
during the week,
so we stay super efficient so we could maximize our time working and then also having fun.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's a combination of a lot of openness where you can sort of do things almost impulsively or be like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to move here. Coupled with the ability to focus very intensively, right? Based upon like, okay, there's not a lot of distractions and there's not a lot of other things that we could be doing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we used to go on kicks living in the apartment with watching TV. Like we'd start watching a series show and then we're like watching it every night. And it's like, wait a minute, we're wasting way too much time doing this. Like, in the van, it's like in the evenings, we'll either just like discuss our day or discuss ideas or read or like it's more productive or we actually just relax and like are able to just shut everything down. And
we have like a whiteboard that's like our vision board on the sliding door of the van.
And where we like plan stuff.
And so when that door's shut, it's right there. You can't really miss it, So it's like the goals are right there. It's like constantly reminding you. Yeah.
I must be manifesting this right now.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, to an extent, that stuff works. It's just on your mind at all times. So definitely.
But it's good because it's stuff we like doing. So it's not
like
we're trying
it's never
to.
a chore. We like what we're doing, so it's like fun.
Yeah. So in terms of, I mean, you guys have been doing this, I think we said for 10 months or so now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This may be difficult to remember, but what was something that was like a huge surprise as far as transitioning from quote unquote normal life to quote unquote van life?
I don't think there weren't any negative surprises for me. I thought that I would struggle with it more than I did. I mean, we definitely have more room in the van than I thought we would, surprisingly.
Yeah, we could still stand up in it, you know. We have more than enough room, especially with the 2 dogs. Like, we're fine. But I think the transition really helped that we had a very supportive staff as far as both the gyms we worked at,
that helped a lot.
and back on the bar CrossFit, that they were just very supportive. Like, it was still really hot when we got the van, and OPEX let me run an extension cord to an AC unit
for the dogs.
Yeah, like, all right, you could do this when you're coaching, just like, you know, don't make it so obvious, but, you know, do what you have to, and we're here to support you. And that helped a lot, you know, because then, if they're on board with it and they're okay with it, and it just makes life a lot easier, you know, showering there, stuff like that. So it was like an easier transition because we had support. I think it would be a lot harder if we were just like, we went van life and just started traveling all the time, and it was just me and her.
Because I guess when we were traveling, like, the hard part is, like, when we would drive from Arizona to Colorado, there are some times where it's like he just starts getting too tired at night to drive, and, like, I'm too tired, and, like, we have to stop somewhere. So, like, the one night we just slept in, like, a casino parking lot, which is, like, really uncomfortable. It's like you have to go to the bathroom, and then that sucks because you're, like, not in a place. It's not like you're out in the woods. So, like, times like that are, like, oh, this sucks a little bit. But then, like, the fact that we're going to Colorado is awesome. So, like, it balances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have a bathroom. We have a toilet that, like, stows away.
Emergencies.
We pretty much just use that for number 2 if we're not out in nature. Because then you could just go, you know what I mean? Just go make a cat hole and go.
Yeah, we're getting too comfortable with that.
Way too comfortable.
We were, like, walking in the city yesterday. Austin's like, I got to go to the bathroom. He's, like, looking around.
Are there any trees nearby?
Like, not here.
No, don't do it. But yeah, like, stuff like that, we're getting so comfortable with doing stuff like that where it's, we're going to the extreme the other way, which is kind of good that we kind of been in Hawaii staying at my grandparents, where it's like we got comfortable and now we'll go balance it out with van life again.
Yeah, I think that, you know, my experience with being on tour with bands is probably somewhat similar, in that it's a different dynamic in that you're sort of like going from place to place all the time, where it's like, oh yeah, like today we're in Chicago, tomorrow we're in Detroit, then we're in Columbus, then, you know, you're just sort of like going from place to place, but it is kind of this similar situation where your options are very limited, right? Which is kind of nice in the sense that it's like, okay, like there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, like this is what it is. Like you just,
Yeah, we've learned you don't need a lot to be happy, you know, like, we stayed at a buddy's house the other night, and they're like we were just planning on sleeping on the floor and just being completely content with that. Like, you know, I was like, we'll sleep fine on the floor. And everyone's like, you could sleep in my guest room. It's like, we don't need that. Like, we're fine on the floor for one night, you know, like, just like, I don't think they got it. Like, we don't even need a couch. Like, we're fine. We'll be happy. We're not going to complain. And I think, they felt like they needed to be a good host or something. But honestly, like, we're just happy hanging out.
Yeah. I will say that I just got back from a camping trip in Yosemite and didn't have a real pillow, and that really started to cause some problems for me.
We actually have like
camping pillows that stow in.
Well, we have camping pillows, but in our van we have like an obsessive amount of pillows. We have like 8 pillows because like Celine has to sleep on the floor, so she gets like 4 pillows to sleep on with the blanket.
This is the dog.
The dog. And like we have a lot of like so
that's probably the one thing we have in excess.
Yeah, because it just goes on top of the bed, so it's not like it's fine.
That's the one thing where I was like, you know, like humans are pretty adaptable. You can put them in a lot of situations, and they're like basically fine. And for me, I was just like unable to sleep without a real pillow. And I was like, I'm so fragile. What's wrong with me?
No. But we do have like these small pillows that we carry around
for camping, like backpack and stuff.
Just in case.
On the plane.
But
Cool. So what about, I mean, as far as like getting that transition done, right? It sounded like something you guys had researched for a while and, sort of understood the dynamics of doing it and like, okay, this is what we need, whatever. And then as you sort of made that transition, it sounds like it was relatively smooth, right? There wasn't much,
There were some hiccups. Like we had to fix our fan in the van. And so we had an issue with the electrical the one night. So like he actually had to FaceTime the guy we bought it from and figure out. And it turns out he color coded the cords wrong. So that could have been really bad.
Yeah, because I took
there
out...
was like something.
Yeah. Messing with electrical is scary as hell.
Yeah.
Especially with it's all DC current. So I unplugged everything and I'm trying to plug everything back in and it's sparking at me. I'm just like freaking out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm the only one who would know how to do that. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
So like we did plan as much as we could, but like you don't know what you don't know. So there were some things where it was like, we got to take care of this.
And we really didn't do that much research, honestly. Like the goal was
we didn't overthink it.
Be in a van by December, and I made it happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I kind of obsessed about it. I was like, no, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we picked it up 2 weeks later. We're in it another week. We were out of our apartment.
And it was actually like less stressful because like when you're actually in the situation, you don't have an option of not figuring out the problem. So like you have to figure out whatever that problem may be.
It's like do or die.
So like you just do. Whereas if you're in a house, I could see like if you're about to move into a van and there's a problem, you're like going back and forth and maybe I shouldn't do it. And where this is like, nope, we've already done it. So like we have to figure this out and like... Yeah, that's what we did.
Figure it out on the go, on the fly.
Right. And I think there's a lot of value in sort of being forced to figure things out like that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, especially I know for, myself, I've historically not been very like handy with stuff. Right. Where it's like, I need to fix, like if I had to fix something with like the current in a car, I'd be like, dude, I don't.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But just being forced to do that, I think that sort of like I said before, people are surprisingly adaptable. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll figure it out. So what I wanted to ask about was like, I mean, you make this transition, then you still have things that are a priority, right? Like, I mean, training is still a priority for you guys. So how does that work in terms of, not having like a normal home?
It's fine.
I mean, the main reason why we didn't move into a van sooner was because I was thinking it was going to affect my training. And like training's not as much of a priority for me as it is for him, but like we still make sure we get it in because health and fitness is a priority. But like sleep, I actually sleep better in the van. And like since we moved in there, I actually didn't get sick until we were at my mom's more and like being in a house. I don't know if it's because like more fresh air or like what, but
the vents from
I would say like there really hasn't been anything to affect training at all.
No, it's like
we sleep really well.
We have blackout curtains. There's no windows in the back, so it's like pitch black at night.
Yeah.
We have a fan, so that fan when it's going at night, it pretty much like we've parked underneath bypasses of expressways, and you can't really hear it because the fans pretty much cancels it all out.
And then our solar, we have a fridge that is hooked to our solar that has a freezer as well. So we have a camping stove, a 2-burner camping stove that's like adjustable. So we make food just like we would any other time.
Better because we can't hold as much food.
So it's more fresh.
So we're grocery shopping twice a week, and it's fresh produce, and we're cooking it, and we cook in bulk as much as we can, but we're cooking more fresh. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's actually it helps a lot actually, I think, because then like
we've definitely been eating cleaner.
Yeah, I think the problem for us too when it came to training was like we were just so hyper focused that like if we didn't get so much sleep that night, I was like, oh, the whole next training session's ruined, that type of thing. When now
I screwed it up.
Yeah. So now it's just like, no, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Life's gonna go on. I'm gonna probably do those small things add up, to your training, but not to the extent we were taking it,
Hyper focusing.
Yeah, so like I said, the van just brought a lot more balance, and when we went van life, my training actually got better. So it was like, it's what I needed.
It's just enough of a distraction. Like, there's more stuff you have to do as far as like we have to empty the sink, the gray tank for the sink, and like stuff like that you have to like remember, and so it kind of distracts you, so you don't stay too hyper focused on something like training.
Yeah, can pull you out of that like hyper intention where it's like almost negative, where you're like, no, everything has to be exactly like this. Or else I haven't maximized my day and everything's ruined.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like I said, just brought balance, and was like. We used to eat, sleep, breathe, live to train. Now it's kind of like training's just for fun, and when it doesn't really matter that much, like in the grand scheme of things, as far as competitive fitness. So now it's like, it's more fun. It's like, and then with that, the pressure's kind of gone off and I'm doing better. That's why I'm excited to like, after this year, I'm taking off. And then once I get back into it, it's going to be a lot of fun because I think I'm going to do a lot better.
Yeah.
I know I will. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think that, trying to maximize your potential in anything is that you hear, essentially like just conflicting advice on that, right? Where it's like you have to dial everything in and everything has to be like focused on this one goal if you want to be one of the best in the world at something, which, there's obviously some truth to that. But then like you're mentioning, there's also this other side of the coin of like, if you get too hyper focused and don't have perspective on what you're doing, you can just like beat yourself up constantly and sort of wear yourself out with, attachment to outcome or like focusing on things that don't actually matter that much.
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. Definitely.
And I think traveling has helped us realize that too in general. Like, just like, yeah, there's so much more out there. And like, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Like, obviously, when he gets back into competing, he wants to do his best, but he's not going to be that hyper-focused. Now we're aware of that, so.
Yeah. Like I said, like, yeah, my whole self-worth was being an athlete. It's like.
So it's scary.
All I associate myself with.
Then.
Yeah. That's why I don't like associating myself with too much anymore. It's like, identifying with it. Now it's just like, no, I'm going to be an athlete for this time. And when I'm going to be an athlete, I'm going to do my best at it. But if I fail at it, it doesn't matter. It's like, that's just for fun. Like, and there's more perspective on that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just like an overall less attachment to like specific outcomes, not just in training, but I mean, it sounds like, in terms of where you're even living, right? Where it's just like, yeah, cool. Like this is fine, but there's also another spot you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely.
So how do you decide where you actually want to live?
We like a spot.
Impulsively?
Yeah. We find a spot.
Recklessly and impulsively?
It's like, this will work, and then we'll make it work until we find something else either better or something that'll suit us,
Yeah.
whatever our interests are at the time.
We just went for like a weekend trip in Boulder because, we were in Colorado Springs. Then we just went for a weekend trip right before we left for Hawaii. And like, we just vibed really well with the people there and everything. So we looked for a gym with a shower, an office, parking. It was all there. So I just transferred my office a couple weeks ago. And then July 1st, we'll be in Boulder. So, and that was actually probably the most impulsive we've been with a move.
Like a long-term move, right?
Yeah,
like,
but now it's like, oh, okay. So who knows where we're going to be in the summer. That was actually pretty easy now that we're starting to get more comfortable with it.
But weekends too, like we'll travel on the weekends, we'll usually drive up to 2 or 3 hours on the weekends for like a 3-day weekend
depending.
or a 2-day weekend. But that's pretty impulsive. It's like, because the
don't
Colorado
pack.
weather especially is just all over the place.
Yeah.
So like we had for a couple of weekends we had stuff planned, and then it came to like time to leave and we saw the weather was just complete garbage. I was like, oh, pivot, like where is it going to be nice? And then we just drive there and make it work. So like the weekend trips are definitely impulsive, like just depends. We don't know what's going to happen until we actually leave.
Yeah. And what about people? I guess like this seems like something that, if you start talking about this, people would be like, oh, I don't know, like this is going to happen to you, or well, you should make sure that, people get very concerned with other people making decisions like, oh, I'm going to move out of my home and live in a van, or I'm going to quit my job and start this or whatever. And that they can sort of act like they're concerned and trying to look out for you, but are really just like, essentially telling you not to do the thing.
Yeah, like pointing out negatives.
Yeah, for sure. I assume that you probably experienced some of that with moving into a van. Is that true or not really?
Yeah, initially when we like brought it up to our parents and everything, it was like my mom was like really overwhelmed, and it like was overwhelming at first. But then I think as we start figuring things out and relaying that to people, I mean, people know us, so if we want something, we're gonna do it. So we actually did have a lot of support. Once everyone realized we were serious, it was like, oh, wow, they're really doing this. And then it kind of stopped. But yeah, people would ask us questions. Like sometimes I'd be coaching a class and I would just have somebody, like you could tell they were thinking about it for a while, and they'd just come up to me and be like, so where's your mail going? Like just like random questions, like wondering.
Where is your mail going?
It was going to my physical office.
Okay, cool.
But now we're actually gonna just send it to my mom's and then transfer our plates and driver's license to Colorado, and then just like use her address as like the main, and she'll just send us our stuff wherever we are. So that actually works out. That helps a lot, having like something like that.
Yeah, but as far as like people being negative about it, we don't experience too much
Unless
of
we
that.
just block it out, maybe.
I think so. I think
We don't
do.
let it
Like,
actually
it's
get to us.
Man. Like, there's always going to be someone going to be doubting you or criticizing you or putting you down somewhere. Just
Or like they don't even mean to, but it's just like what would go through their head, which is probably why most people don't actually act on things.
yeah.
You know?
Because like I think my parents' big one was like when I told them like quit and I'm just going to be doing
quit
my
his
own
job.
They're like, what are you going to do for health insurance? I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Like, I'm healthy though. Like, I haven't been a doctor in I don't know how many years. Like, you know, I'll figure it out. Like, I'm not worried about it. Mom, Dad, chill out.
Does anyone bully you for being disgusting hippies?
No.
No.
So not too many doubters and not too many bullies?
Not too many bullies. No, I mean, like we were saying, it's like funny, certain spots, like it just seems like people are nicer to us, actually. Like if they know we live in a van, like, oh, those people are probably pretty down to earth if they're living in a van. Like they're probably not aggressive people. So yeah, it seems like people are actually nicer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like whatever you put out in the world is like what you're going to get back. I feel like we try and always do what's right, you know? So it's like, I feel like that more of those people, you know, positive-minded people, growth mindseted people are attracted to us and we're attracted to them. So then it's just like, kind of get you further away from the negativity type thing.
There was one time we got kicked out of Vail by a police
nice.
officer who told us that he better not see us in his town again.
What did you do to upset this individual?
We just like tried to sleep there. Like, there was no signs that said no parking or
And
like
when we sleep somewhere, we don't put anything outside of the van, and like we close the blinds and like put so like it's not like we have stuff
stealthy,
outside.
yeah.
We try to be stealthy about it and like not take up space or anything. But yeah, it was like a community park, and like I don't know if they didn't have a sign that it closed and we like didn't look it up or something. But
So you're just like in the parking lot for this park?
yeah, like a hiking trail.
and
or
we
something.
got there late too because we were
Yeah.
driving through. It was just like a quick stop so we could sleep and wake up and continue driving.
Yeah.
And gosh, like, yeah, get out of here. I want to see you in my town.
Yeah.
Wait,
Rest
so
of
hold
that.
on. So you're like, are you sleeping? And it's like someone's knocking on
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it's
were
actually
sleeping.
funny because like whenever people try to get our attention, they
Like,
don't know where to
hello?
knock. Yeah, they like we like hear it on one side and then the other. Like,
Or when
the door?
we'll sit a lot of times, like even if we're making, you know, dinner in a parking lot of a grocery store, we'll leave the door open so we get air in.
Yeah.
And like people like driving by or walking by and like they want to like look inside but don't because it's like weird because it's
home,
like your
but, like-
your bed home or it's like someone's private space but they still are super interested and we're like, you could look, like, come on, you can look, like, check it out, like, we're fine.
yeah.
You don't have to.
So you got like peekers.
Yeah.
Or people asking
yeah,
us.
we don't keep
Peeping toms.
Yeah.
So hold on, I want to know more about this police officer. And so you guys are like literally asleep, and
We're
then
about
someone's
to
like
go to
knocking.
bed.
Yeah, she was already passed out.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like still like winding down. Yeah, he just knocked. I like cracked it open. You know, I'm like shirtless, like we're getting ready to go to bed, and yeah, he's just like, "Hey, park's closed. I want to see the rest of my town and get out of here."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, yeah, no problem."
Yeah, like they
Just
weren't
shut
cool
it.
with it there.
Yeah, he
so.
wasn't cool. So some towns aren't, some towns are.
So you were in fact bullied once then.
Yeah, I guess that would be.
Yeah, bully those cops.
Yeah. That time.
But yeah, for the most, and we got kicked out of our office.
Oh yeah,
That was like one reason we had to leave Arizona
early.
early.
It was just starting to get warm. And it was like one morning where he was on a trip guiding in Zion, and I had the dog, so I was just going to work a half day. But like people in Arizona go crazy with dogs being left in cars, which is good because it can be bad. But our van is super insulated, and like when you're parked in the shade in the morning, you know, like it was actually when I opened the door, because somebody called the cops, and then like I had to go down there. When I opened the door, we have a thermometer in there. It tells you temperature. It was actually like cooler in the van than it was outside. And like, yeah, it was like 70 degrees, like totally fine, but it was fine. Like I just ended up leaving, and like I actually like camped down by a river for the rest of the time when he was gone. I was like, well, I'll just take off work and like focus on the other business stuff. So yeah, I guess that was twice. Because cops are unsure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's probably something that you're just not sure what to do about, right? It's like this seems like it might be wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah, and like sometimes there are like homeless people, especially in Colorado. So like sometimes the vans are very like run down, where it's like, yeah, they're homeless. Like, you know, we're doing it by choice, so we're not going to be like leaving stuff everywhere and like making a mess or causing trouble.
Yeah, we stay super clean. Like, yeah.
So it's understandable. Yeah.
There's people who do it like because they are actually homeless and don't have money, and some people, yeah, it's just like a bad looking car. I could see why people wouldn't want that in their neighborhood, but ours is like a nice white 2017 ProMaster.
Yeah. Somebody actually suggested that we put like a electrical company service sticker on the side. It's just like no one will question that in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, seriously.
So, and then I think it throws people off too, because it's like, yeah, it's not like we dress homeless either. We're clean majority of the time. Our clothes might be a little stained because we wear them so much. Like, yeah, I've noticed that too since going van life. Like, we only have so many clothes, so I'll wear a uniform basically for a week or two until it gets like super dirty, and then change it out. But like, I'm going through clothes now. Like, I've never really gone through clothes like
literally
that.
worn it out.
Yeah, where it's like, all right, it's time to buy
out.
Something new because I need to get rid of this. It's not working.
Yeah.
Which is actually like,
kind
I
of
don't think a lot of people ever really wear out clothes like that, you know?
Getting the full use, not being wasteful.
Yeah. So that's, I actually really like that too.
Yeah.
It takes out like, it's efficiency too. Like, we don't have that many clothes to choose from, so it's like
easy to pick what you're wearing. Yeah.
So there's definitely benefits to having like a uniform or a set of clothes.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and we talked earlier a little bit about like business stuff. I mean, and you guys have started your own coaching business, and as I mentioned before, this is something that people talk about doing and like the idea of doing, right? Especially people in the fitness industry where it's like, yeah, you know, I coach some CrossFit classes or maybe have like a few people who I help with some program design or like personal training or whatever. And they want to take that step to actually having their own business where they're like really running it and, you know, having their own clients or potentially opening a facility or something like that down the line. But like I said before, a lot of people don't actually take action on it, that it's like a passing idea that they think about and like dream about, but don't actually do. But you guys have recently like really done this. Mm-hmm. So what's going on with that?
So it was more of like both of us. He was working for OPEX North Scottsdale, and he was actually bringing in a lot of his own clients, like through his social media stuff. And so it's kind of like, okay, do we stay here where you have to like work on site, or like, are you able to start your own thing? And like, based on the people reaching out, I was just like, no, I'm pretty sure we could just start our own. The benefit is like he was saying, like he's still associated with OPEX, which is good, like to get our name out there and everything. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, no, I don't think we need them. Like, you know, I could do the business stuff and you could focus on coaching, because that could definitely be overwhelming if you're coaching people and trying to like start a business and get everything else in order. So yeah, I kind of convinced him, and then he was just like, yeah, it makes sense. And we've just kind of been running with it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have a business degree or anything. So it's literally been a lot of reading, like the LLC stuff, and just like reaching out to people. We have a list of people that we've just met along the road or along the line.
Both. The literal road and figurative road.
So like, I'll reach out to people with questions randomly and just figure it out. Yeah, and kind of go from there. And then, like, he doesn't want to know anything about the business stuff. He's like, just you take care of it. Like, I trust you with it. And so we just kind of communicate when we need to as far as that goes.
Yeah, but to back up, I guess, a little bit was I've been coaching individual clients for a long time since I started getting into competitive fitness. Yeah. And then it was just like, people have always said, like, you should just go off and do your own thing. I just never had the confidence enough to. And then being an athlete for a year only through OPEX, and then getting the job offer from the OPEX HQ gym. And that was like a big confidence boost. It was like, all right, I'm going to be around these amazing coaches. And once I started working with them, it was like, you know, I think before I put them on such a high pedestal, it was like, oh, these guys are like top line, top tier coaches. I don't know if I'm there yet. But then I got thrown into the mix. It was like, whoa, like I think I'm actually a better coach than some of these guys I had held on such a higher pedestal. So it's like definitely leveled me up and gave me a lot of confidence. Whereas like, where I was challenging them, you know, where it's like these guys who I looked up to is like, you know, when I was put on the same level with them, I was able to like hold my ground and do more than, you know, like I said. And then the more I started working with them, it was like, these guys are really good coaches, but they're not balanced, right? Like they're super hyper focused on the programming and like talking about what we did before, they're just highly identifying with like the program has to be perfect. And it's like, there's all these variables that go into it, you know, and yeah, you need a good program with good principles, but at the same time, like, there's a lot more going on to a person than just the program to get them there. And then I started realizing like the reason a lot of these guys are staying with OPEX is because they don't know how to run a business. It's like, I think I can do this. And like Megan's like, I'll take the business part, because I had so many clients I couldn't. It'd be hard for me to run the business, figure that out, and program and build clients.
So different mindsets.
So when she said she wanted to start like focusing on the business, it was like, all right, I have someone to run the business. I don't really need OPEX per se to do my own thing and have my own mission and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it sounds like there was some level of confidence involved as far as like, you think that there's something you don't know, right? And there's
always
stuff you don't know, but it's I've definitely experienced some similar stuff in coaching where it's like, oh man, like I definitely don't know all this stuff, and there's all these people who know way more than me, and then you get put in certain situations, and you're like, oh, I know more than I think I do.
Yeah. That was exactly it. And then I think with the van life too, I was able to like tap into like previous experiences a lot more because I detached from a lot of things. And so I was able to like kind of pull previous experiences I had more easily because I wasn't identifying as just an athlete or just a coach. And that helped too.
Yeah, like sit back and actually like look at things as they were instead of being trapped in the cycles.
Yeah, like being a chess player instead of the chess piece type thing,
Sure.
I'm able to still kind of take a step back and see how everything's going to play out.
I mean, there's definitely like times where it was like we would have doubt and everything where it's like, I hope this is going to work out. Like we got to really start hustling for a little bit or like figuring that. But like it's actually always worked out for us. So.
Yeah. And also too, living in van, it's like, all right, if this doesn't pan out, which I have no doubt that it won't, like, right? It's like, well, I'm still happy in this. I don't need much to be happy, Like cost of living's pretty low.
Yeah, so that's something I was going to ask as far as like, with trying to start your own thing, a lot of people struggle with confidence, right? And also just managing the risk and the downside. Because it's like, okay, well, if this doesn't work and I've quit my job or whatever, then what do I do? Especially if people are thinking, sort of that they have to start with a certain number of clients, or they're going to open a facility and, take on investment and like a lease and all this stuff where it's like now you have a bunch of obligations. But it sounds like you've effectively been able to really manage the downside, right? Where it's like, okay, you live in a van, so it's not like you have a mortgage or something that you have to pay, right? You had a certain number of clients on your own before like really starting a thing. So how did you think about that, managing that risk of sort of striking out on your own?
It helps that I still have my on-site job right now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like worst case scenario, I have this. And then, we've just made so many friends down the line, and like, especially gym owners and everything that like, the other worst case scenario is like, I'm sure we could find a gym where he could work at and like pick up hours and like, I'll probably eventually like step back from the on-site job and just do the marketing for them or something like that. But
I think you have to take the plunge.
Good.
Yeah, you have to just jump.
Yeah.
It's like you just got to take that leap of faith and do it. And if it's something you're passionate about and love doing and have a clear mission and a why behind it, it'll work out. I mean, I feel like things always work out.
I think we have so many good relationships with people too, that there's always like a support in some way. Like not saying we're always going to be like reaching out for people for help, but it's nice that like that support system is good too.
Yeah, we've built a really good network. We've definitely
makes you
better
feel a little bit
networking.
Better about it.
Like she said, we have a business plan with a bunch of people listed out. Like, all right, we have a problem with this. Like, we have a go-to person to ask them, and we know we have a good relationship with them, so we know they'll help us. And if they reached out to us, we'd help them in any way we could. Just the more people you could help, the more. What I guess what I'm trying to say is like, more you help people get what they want, you'll get what you want, type thing.
Yeah,
seems to work that way.
Yeah, it seems to work that way all the time.
Sure. So I mean, it sounds like that there is an element of like, okay, you just have to take a risk and take the plunge, as you said, but that you'd also sort of set it up so that it wasn't that much of a plunge.
No,
you already had clients. It's like, there's an uncomfortable moment where it's like, okay, I have to actually do this, but it's not as big of a gap as one might think.
No, yeah.
He really eased into it. And like, he really, even working for other gyms, he has really good systems in place already. So like, from a business standpoint, I was like, you already have like really good systems. So let's just actually like, make them run a little bit smoother. And it's like pretty much there already.
Yeah, I've worked at enough gyms where I've seen what works, what doesn't, and what I liked about certain things. And I just kind of pieced together my own systems. I know you're really big on systems and efficiency and stuff like that and automation. And yeah, I'm not, I just kind of do that. I did that and picked out what I liked and built my own little thing. So it works really well.
And how did you initially start getting clients? Because I think that's also something that can be a struggle for people, right? Is that they like this idea and they maybe have stumbled into having a client or two from some random process that they don't really know. But I mean, how did you get your initial clients where you're like, okay, this is something I can build on?
Yeah, it was just from coaching on site, you know. I
mean, Windy City, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Coaching on site
Yeah.
at like group fitness, people want to take it the next step further, and I got started getting clients that way. And then, you know, I kept them, moved on, and just kept remote programming, and I got a lot of my clients are referrals, and then a good portion is actually social media. And then we're actually getting a lot just from word of mouth now, like, referrals type thing, like.
And there's not like turnover. So like his clients are staying with him. So that was another thing where it was like, okay, like this is good to know. You know, it's not like you have to worry about like a sudden drop or anything like that. So
No, I build a really good relationship with all my clients. That's like one thing I really want to do, because I feel like you have to have a really good relationship with your coach if you want to progress and you want that person to get to where they want to be. You know, I want to be invested in it with them. And you know, it's just like another person you have giving you energy towards your goals. You know, two is better than one, you know, especially if the one's holding you accountable and taking a look from the outside rather than always being kind of inside looking out.
Yeah. One, and we mentioned earlier too that, you know, programming matters, right? That like everyone who is writing programming for people probably has some beliefs about what exercises they should do and what reps and sets they should do and all that stuff. But that's probably not the main thing for most people in terms of like really moving them forward.
No, a lot of it too is just lifestyle building, you know?
Yeah, which is why we like try to advertise that. Like we're not just going to give you a fitness program and let you go. Like you're going to get nutrition too, and we're going to work on lifestyle stuff, like just getting enough sleep. Like there are people who are killing themselves in the gym and only sleeping 5 hours a night. It's like, well, you know, you're actually probably doing more damage than good if
not
you're
even
not
in the gym, but you know, at work. You know, I work with a good amount of like high-end business guys, CEOs, people who own companies, and they just they're grinders, you know, and all they ever know is like more is better type thing. It's like no. We need to find balance, like
helping them balance.
Like put the handles on and just like slow them down a little bit and just like, all right, no, you know, slow down, breathe, relax, you know, get your sleep in, get your veggies. You don't even need to track macros, you know, it's like good portion control. We'll get there, you know, and longevity of it, you know, looking at the long term rather than short, quick gains. You know, I'm never going to do like a 6-week slim challenge because that's like just not what I believe in. There's no longevity.
A 6-week slim gym challenge? How many slim gyms can you eat in 6 weeks?
It's like, God, no, I want to build a relationship, and I enjoy building relationships with people. So,
yeah, I think that, you know, for general population, people who just want to like look good, feel good, whatever, that the program matters in terms of like, don't do something stupid. But that for a lot of those folks, like you mentioned, it's much more about, can you be consistent over time? And then especially a lot of hard charging people who, you know, give themselves assignments to complete and are like, all right, I must do this. Like, here's my program. I have to do it, whatever, that they can sort of trade off their ability to train in the future based upon like trying to do too much right now. And that's not a good trade-off, right? That you want to get more training in over 6 months and 12 months than you do over, you know, the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's not the right way to think about it.
Yeah. And it's just getting people to realize that and, you know, I think the best way to do that is by building a relationship with them, you know, having a good consult, good conversation, getting to know them. And then everyone's so different too, you know? So how you coach one person should be completely different how you coach another one. But you do see themes, you know, and that helps a lot too. But yeah, I mean, all coaches make mistakes and you learn from them, but like for the most part, it's like, yeah, you kind of just help them along the way.
Yeah. And even with competitive athletes, I think that the program matters less than people think too. I think it probably matters more for competitors than it does for people who are just working out for health and fitness. But that I think that a lot of it is really just like, don't do something stupid. Right? That matters more.
If you're not hurting them, you know, like not physically hurting them, you know, if they're waking up every day because their back's hurting, it's like, well, maybe you're doing too much hinging, right? Like that type of thing. But if you're keeping them safe, they're moving, right? Movement's the big one, and they're doing all the little things right. over the long term, that's consistent, they're going to see
Progress.
Yeah.
results.
That actually lasts too.
Yeah.
Not like a quick fix that then is going to like go down the drain because they're overwhelmed with like everything going on. So.
Yeah, that you can sort of like force people to, I mean, especially if they're training seriously and they're a resilient athlete, you can sort of force them to adapt and like just dump a bunch of stuff on them, but it's not necessarily going to be like a long-term thing that they can build on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I'm excited for the new game schedule for like that reason too. You know, it's like you're gonna see people doing every qualifier and just killing themselves.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And it's like if you don't have a coach to help you kind of attack certain ones smartly, you know, some people are gonna die out quick. You know,
Yeah.
The lifespan of a CrossFitter's gonna get shorter and shorter with that if they're doing that.
Yeah.
Not having a coach and stuff.
Well, and I think it's interesting as well in terms of, I mean, like you mentioned, the schedule, that there's a sanctioned event almost every weekend from like whatever, November to June.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is, I'm really curious to see how it plays out, right? I think there will probably be some more changes in the season as we sort of see how this season goes and how next season goes. I think they'll probably change more and more stuff as they go. But yeah, it is something that people think that they can just compete every weekend or, you know, whatever, but they don't necessarily have a structure to their season, and that's going to shorten their longevity in the sport.
Yeah, for sure. And
So yeah, how are you going to approach that, since you mentioned you're thinking about getting back into serious training?
Yeah, I'll probably pick one or two. I think location will play a big part of that. If I want to be there, you know, like I'm lucky enough where I could travel wherever with the van, you know, and just kind of set camp.
You'd be like, can I park a van in the parking lot?
You know, so I'll probably pick a couple and kind of, plan out, write a cycle for that. Probably get a coach too for when I do decide to really go after a competition. Right now, it's just like I'm still working on things and progressing as far as like scapular strength, mobility, cleaning up my gut's a big one because 4 years of competitive fitness and trying to fuel for that, I think just completely wrecked my gut, and I'm fixing that right now, which has been going actually pretty well. I've been working hard on that. So I'm excited to, once I get back into it, a different mindset, you know, doing things a little bit differently and detached from being an athlete a little bit more. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting just thinking about, like we talked about before, that combination of being focused but simultaneously detached, right? Like that's sort of the place that you have to be, and it's so hard for people to find the right spot where they either are hyper focused and so dependent on their specific status or finish or number of Instagram followers or whatever, but you know that detaching from that completely and then not being consistent is like not the way to do it either.
Yeah. And you got to really just kind of narrow your focus when it counts, type thing. And know when to turn that off too.
Yeah.
You know, which I think I'm probably still struggle with it just because I'm an all or nothing person, you know.
But at least I'll be staying on the outside so I can like help him.
Yeah, she'll help me stay conscious.
Because we definitely like amplified each other and like going really deep into that competitive.
So it was like a negative spiral of like, well, I'm sleeping more than you, so
Kinda.
It's like, oh, that bitch is going to bed before me.
Do you feel like anxious about going to bed? Think you're sleeping too?
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's eating, I must be eating. You know, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Slow down. Yeah, so it'll be cool. It'll be real cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Just like the way that can be almost like competitive about doing all the additional things on top of the actual training, which is competitive in and of itself.
Yeah, you can see how that can spiral, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely what happened. You know, for sure. It was good to a certain extent, but then it went too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like anything that a certain amount of competition can push you appropriately and sort of set the bar high to what you can accomplish, but then there's like a dark side to it as well. I mean, we see this at South Loop in terms of recording scores, right? Like where we stopped writing them on the board just because people would be obsessive about their score being written on the board and would shave reps to try to beat people or like try to go do the workout as prescribed when they really shouldn't because they wanted to use a certain weight and have that next to their name. And it's like, yo, come on, like cut that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ego just takes control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that there's an obvious benefit to, you know, tracking your results and being aware of how you're doing and potentially being aware of how you sit relative to other people, because then that can reframe like, oh, maybe I need to work on this, or like, oh, I'm actually better at this than I think. Like, yeah, you want to know numbers and have some data, but if you get too focused on that specific outcome, then it can cause a bunch of like really negative behaviors.
Yeah, and movement.
Yeah. Yes.
Movement.
Yeah. Bad habits. Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely a victim of that.
Yeah, where it's like, yeah, I can power clean 315, but my elbows are behind my body when I catch it. So
When there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but it shouldn't be that way to an extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited because I'm moving a lot better too now.
Yeah.
To get back into competing.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you mentioned some weird yoga that you do.
Yeah, we've been doing
Yeah.
a lot of like strength and scapular strength yoga.
Yeah, we have this app we use. So there's a bunch of different instructors. And we found this one instructor that is just like, he could do these crazy body weight stuff, like balance on one finger in a handstand type of thing.
He has this
this,
too.
Yeah.
he has this like strength program where it progresses you. And we like did the first video, and it just like kicked our asses. So we're just like, wait a minute.
Whoa.
But yeah, it's a lot of scapular strength, and then like you'll go through like a little intense, like a bunch of push-ups and like different things, and then he'll have you stretch as you rest. So like he's getting more flexible, but then we're also like both learning how to engage our core the right way all the time, and move our scaps and everything. Like his butterflies, he went a while without doing them, and then we did them one morning. And he was like, "Did you see those?" I'm like, yeah, you were actually like following a good rhythm.
Busting
like,
out like 4 reps of 30 unbroken. Like
he actually looked
no
more
problem.
comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. Like,
but-
I'm not feeling this in my biceps.
Yeah, like no, it's like
It's
really
crazy.
good. Like I wish I would have done that like way down the line. Like it's a good foundation, just like building the right core strength and awareness, and then scapular strength, awareness, all those smaller muscles.
What's the app called?
ALO moves. ALO moves. So it's like a monthly subscription. And there's like a ton of good videos on there. So sometimes we'll do yin yoga, which is pretty much like Ramwad, but actually done by yoga teachers, and like just work on flexibility before bed.
Yeah, it's crazy too because it's like the same price as Ramwad, but you get a lot more videos and options.
Different kind of stuff.
So it's like I give the login to clients to like, hey, go do this video. Like this would be good for you.
Yeah.
Well, that now that's going to be posted on this podcast, and they're going to disable your account.
They can find me. 'Cause it's not my someone else's.
they're gonna send out their rules violation, terms of service violation squad to come find you.
But they are yogis, so maybe
don't
not.
care.
Maybe it'll be chill. And
Be very passive.
Dude, please stop doing that.
Tap politely on the van. Excuse me. We have a question for you. Have you been violating our terms of service?
But yeah, we've also been using that like when we're traveling and don't want to pay a drop-in fee at a gym. We'll do like strength yoga, or the rack on the top of our van. When we open the back doors, we do pull-ups off the back. So we'll like
pull-ups,
do
yeah.
strict pull-ups. We have our weight vests, so like
And we have bands too that we'll tie. We have a ladder on the back of our van, so like you could tie the bands. Like it's almost like crossover symmetry type stuff. Almost like cook bands that we could do, like face pulls and external rotations and stuff like that real quick, just to get moving.
Yeah.
Because if we're hiking, it's all lower body for the most part. If we're climbing, it's still a good workout, but it's nothing too crazy.
yeah.
So it's always good to have that stuff too.
So you've been traveling around the United States, hiking and climbing and such. What recommendations do you have as far as like either parks or forests or whatever to hike in?
We love Sedona.
Yeah,
We really like Sedona.
Sedona's really cool. If you
The red rocks are really
Yeah.
pretty and everything.
we'll hike
Is
in
Sedona where all the energy vortexes are?
Yeah.
So Sedona was like we pretty much lived there last summer.
Yeah, we're going there a lot.
Yeah, that was like right after Megan went through her whole thing with CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then it was just our escape. We were there all the time. It was just like we definitely connected
Close
with
enough.
that place.
Yeah.
A lot. So we'll be back there for sure.
But yeah, like favorite places. Where else?
I don't know.
Yeah,
where all
we've
over the
done a
place.
lot.
Oh, NorCal. We did a backpacking trip in.
We backpacked the Lost Coast Trail.
Oh yeah, awesome.
So it was hiking trip along the ocean. It was Black Sands Beach. That was really, really cool. Like I definitely want to do that again.
How long did that take you?
We spread it out across 3 days.
Okay,
so
cool.
2 nights. I think it was 23 miles in the sand. So you have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Foot cramps.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
We got good shoes that time.
But it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just being along the water, the ocean the whole time. No cell phone service. We saw maybe 5 other humans that whole time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was really cool. You had to be real careful with bears. We're carrying bear spray.
Yeah.
The last day was all fog, so you can only see maybe 5-10 feet in front of you, and you're just hiking along the beach. It
was really pretty.
It was intense.
And we really like Utah, like Moab and everything. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, every place is different, so it depends on what you like. So usually when people ask us, like, what's the best place? It's like, well, it depends what you're going for. Like, tell us what you want, and then, like, we'll give you good suggestions. And
yeah, we're bad to talk to about that because we'll find the best out of every situation. So
yeah.
it's
It's like everything's real
know,
positive.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of like...
if we didn't like it, we wouldn't be there in the first place.
It's kind of like you just have to like it, accept it for what it is, and enjoy it for that. So, like, yeah, Arizona's hot, but there's also a lot of benefits to it. And, like, you can't change that it's hot, so why are you going to complain about it? Just, like, accept it and, like it for what it is, or don't, and then go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, yeah, what we do. And, yeah.
Sure. So you can just sort of go from spot to spot and sort of take it in and take what it has to offer and move on to the next spot.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy because when we moved to Colorado Springs, we left Arizona because it was getting too hot. We go to Colorado Springs, it's still like 30 degrees. There were like 2 major snowstorms where we woke up and there was like 12 inches of snow on the ground. It's like, oh, this kind of sucks a little bit. But like then the snow in Colorado Springs melts by the end of the day. And it was like, oh, okay, I guess that was kind of cool. Like it was pretty. It's like fresh white snow. So yeah, just different experiences.
Mm-hmm. It was cool to see snow because we didn't go back to Chicago area during Christmas last year, so we didn't see snow all year.
Yeah, so it was fun to play in snow. So yeah, I guess we do fun. Everything's great.
Everything's just positive. Just like, just open yourself up to the universe and just
go with it.
Just accept its positivity.
Kind of.
Pretty much.
Great. Well, so if people are interested in coaching or keeping up with van life or whatever, what do you want them to do?
So we have our Instagrams, our own personal ones. And then we just started a Instagram for the business, which is live_ATOP, ATOP _coaching. So on there, we're going to be posting like fitness tips, like some positive quotes, some mindset stuff, some nutrition tips, and just like little tidbits like that. And we're very active on there. So if they comment any questions or anything, then we're going to be right on there responding. And then our personal Instagrams are linked to that. So mine is megbenz _live a top coach, and his is ATOneal _live a top coach.
Yeah.
And then we have a website and everything. So when you go to our Instagrams, it can direct you there. But the website's www.liveatopcoaching.com.
So and you can reach out. We're very responsive. Yeah. You reach out, we'll reply as fast as we can. And that's kind of our thing. We're on it. Very fast.
But yeah, we have.
What if you don't have reception because you're hiking?
For the most part, we do though.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're pretty good about it. We detach a lot. Like I said.
I feel like the times we don't have reception, it'll just be for like a couple days, and then we'll like usually go out to find reception and work a little bit, and then
reception right now, like you talked about, like you're not too set up to go off the grid for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're kind of the same way.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I mean, right now I don't want to be off the grid because I like working. I like doing it.
And we have like 2 different cell phone carriers, so like if AT&T doesn't work, which is usually the case, Verizon pulls through.
Yeah. AT&T is not good in the mountains.
Yeah.
But it works. She has the better phone anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
I've been going down. I had a 7, 5, and then I went to a 3 for a while.
Ooh, downgrade.
I'm back to a 5 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully I get rid of mine and just use her phone.
There you go.
No.
Then it's like a weird thing where people have you saved together, like as one name.
Yeah,
in their address
seriously.
book. It's like, oh, that's
I feel like all of our text messages are group messages where we're both in the same group with one other person.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, yeah. Or a flip phone.
Yeah.
I see people with flip phones. I'm just like, oh, they're doing it right.
That's cool. I'm into that.
Yeah.
I support that.
A flip phone would be cool.
Live in a van, use a flip phone.
Keep it
So
simple.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But,
Thanks for listening all the way through. I admire your grit, your persistence, and your perseverance. Since you made it, I have a few favors to ask of you. Go ahead and open up the show notes on whatever podcast player you use. In there, you'll find links to all the resources that were mentioned throughout the show. There's also some links there in which you can leave a review or subscribe to the show. And podcasters are always harping on this because this actually makes a difference in terms of the algorithms that recommend podcasts to new people. So if you do that, it helps more people find the show. And if you head over to toddneef.com, you can sign up to receive most of my thoughts and writing, which really only go out to the email list. A lot of it never makes it to the blog or the podcast. So if you like what I have to say and you want to see some of my recommendations and stuff that I've been checking out, go ahead and subscribe to that email newsletter as well.